Yo, what is up, Sexy Beast? Bald Pineapple here, and today we're going to be comparing the World War II PPSH to the World at War and Black Ops 3 versions, really just seeing what all has changed throughout the years, so let's go ahead and get the shit started. So I've already done a World at War and Black Ops 3 comparison video, and if you want to check that out, a link will be on the screen right now, so I'm really not going to spend that much time comparing those two as much as I am the World War II one. And if you guys are new to this series, the first thing I do is let you guys watch and listen to every single PPSH, both the unupgraded versions and the upgraded ones, just that way you guys can hear and see the differences, and overall for yourself decide which one you think looks and sounds the best. So here you go. So when it comes to the sound, hands down, World at War PPSH is in my opinion the best. And when it comes to looks, I really kind of have like mixed opinions. I like something about every single one of these PPSHs. I like how the World at War one is kind of small and compact. I like how in Black Ops 3 and in World War II you kind of hold the drum mag. So there's something about every single PPSH that I love, and I really don't have like a strong preference when it comes to looks for any of them. And there really is like a huge difference between the World at War one and the Black Ops 3 and the World War II one. The World at War one, God, it's gonna get so confusing, I'm actually gonna say like World War II or something. But the World at War one is all rusted and faded, while the World War II one looks like it's brand spanking new and looks like it's been polished recently. So there are some differences, but I still like each one individually. Alright, so we have a lot of tests in front of us. Let's go ahead and compare the World at War one to the World War II one, and the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is fire rate. So I line up both these weapons side by side, and the World War II PPSH only carries 52 shots in its drum magazine. Now I have no other attachments on this PPSH because I kind of wanted this to be as even as possible, and since the World at War and Black Ops 3 PPSH both have a drum mag, I thought it was only fair to include the drum mag, but the World War II PPSH does not have any other attachments. So I brought down the World at War PPSH to 52 shots, which was a pain in the ass, but I finally did it, and I start shooting at the exact same time. The World at War PPSH is miles faster than the World War II PPSH. It wasn't even a comparison, it was ridiculously faster. And this really wasn't a big shocker to me. I could just tell from using the World War II PPSH that it was a lot slower. Now you can't always throw rapid fire on there, but we're just looking at the base gun, so the base World War II version is going to be a lot slower than the World at War one. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and talk about accuracy. Let's talk about hipfire and recoil. Let's start with hipfire first. So when it comes to hipfire, I definitely do prefer the World at War version. I find myself hipfiring with that one a lot more often than I do with the World War II version, mainly just because when you hipfire with the World at War PPSH, its reticles just go straight up. They don't go left, right, they don't get bigger or smaller. They kind of just go straight up, which is manageable. You can actually manage that, you can deal with that. Now with the World War II version, it goes straight up, it drifts to the left and right, and it gets bigger and smaller. So if you're trying to hip fire from anything other than close range, you might not be as accurate as you want to be. And when it comes to overall recoil, this is where it all kind of comes down to personal preference and who you are as a person. I would much rather have the World at War's recoil, which just goes straight up. Yes, it does do it kind of fast, but it just goes straight up. It's predictable. While with the World War II version, it goes straight up in a zigzag formation. So it's not just going to go straight up to where you can predict it, it's going to go straight up, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, which can kind of be a pain in the ass to hit anything from medium to far range. So if you're in close range, I would much rather have the World War II version because it doesn't go straight up as fast. But everything else, I'm probably going to want the World at War PPSH because I can actually manage that recoil, unlike the World War II version. So when it comes to overall accuracy, I'm definitely going to give it to the World at War version. Alright, and lastly, before we actually get to the Black Ops 3 version, let's go and take a look at the reload speed. So I start reloading at the exact same time as soon as these guns hit 0, and the World at War PPSH is just going to be a smidge faster. I would say like a second or two at most. It's really not that noticeable. I had to actually go back and rewatch the footage a couple times and go frame by frame just to make sure that the World at War one was actually faster. And it was, just by a second or two. It's no huge difference, but it still is faster. Alright, so now let's go ahead and compare the Black Ops 3 version to the World War II version. First up is going to be fire rate. I line up both these weapons side by side. I make sure they both have 52 shots and I start shooting at the exact same time. the Black Ops 3 version is going to get done shooting a little bit faster. Now the World of War version is king when it comes to fire rate. It's faster than both the Black Ops 3 and the World War 2 version, so when it comes to fire rate, the World of War 1 is king. And the Black Ops 3 version is going to come in at a solid second place. It's still going to be a lot faster than the World War 2 version. I'm not really sure why we keep dumbing down the PPSH's fire rate, but if it gets any slower, it's going to become a bolt action rifle, and I don't want that to happen. So if we could, up the PPSH's fire rate, I wonder if the reason they did that with World War II is just because they want you to go after the rapid fire attachment. I'm not really sure, but it kind of upsets me a little bit. Alright, so next up is going to be accuracy, and when it comes to accuracy, these weapons are very, very similar. More than positive, the World War II one was modeled after the Black Ops 3 version, because when it comes to recoil, they both kind of do that dumb zigzag thing. They don't just go straight up or anything, they kind of zigzag their way up. And when it comes to hipfire, they look kind of the same. I do think the World War II version's hipfire might be a little bit worse. I think it goes higher up and it goes up a little bit faster. But when it comes to everything else, they're pretty much the exact same. If I had to pick a winner when it comes to accuracy, I gotta give it to the Black Ops 3 version, but really the differences are so minuscule that you'll really never be able to tell. Alright, and lastly, before we actually get to the upgraded versions, let's go and take a look at the reload speed. I start reloading at the exact same time. The Black Ops 3 version is going to be faster. It's going to be the exact same as the World War reload speed. Nothing really changed between those two. I really don't understand the deal with the dumbing down of the World War II PPSH. They must be really wanting to push you towards attachments. Alright, so now that we have all these weapons upgraded, let's go ahead and do all those tests over again. And we're really not going to be focusing on ammo. Usually I do, but for this test, it's just completely unfair. Number one, the World War II version is a wall weapon, and even if it wasn't, you can always just go double pack a punch for more ammo. And there's so many different perks you could use to get this thing to have more ammo that it's really just not even fair. You can get it to have barely any to having a fuck ton. So when it comes to ammo, we're just gonna go ahead and skip that part. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump onto the fire rate. So I'd actually lower down the World War and Black Ops 3's magazine size, just because they both carry 115, because element 115. So I had to lower them both down to 106, which is not an easy task in World War, just that way they're both even with the World War II version, and I start shooting at the exact same time. Big surprise here, the World War version is going to be miles ahead of the World War II version. It's not even a comparison at this point. I think I'm eventually going to go back and put all the attachments on this World War II version just to make it a somewhat fair comparison, because usually I don't like to throw on attachments. I just want to look at the bare bones of the gun itself, but I think just to even put it in the ballpark, it might need some attachments because this is ridiculous. Alright, next up, we're going to be taking a look at accuracy and start shooting at the exact same time. When it comes to hipfire, I'm going to give this one to the World War version, same as the unupgraded ones. Yes, it might have a little bit worse recoil. Well, it doesn't really have worse recoil. It kind of just goes straight up a lot faster. But at least it doesn't go left, right as it's going up. That's a huge pain in the ass and can really make you inaccurate. And also, if you look at the reticles, the World War's reticles really don't move, while the World War II reticles are kind of moving. So when it comes to overall hipfire and accuracy, it's going to be the exact same as the unupgraded ones. Alright, and lastly, before we get to the Black Ops 3 version, let's go ahead and take a look at the reload speed. So start reloading at the exact same time, and this is a huge shocker, wasn't expecting this. They're going to be the exact same. They literally are frame by frame the exact same. So it does look like the World War II version actually got a little bit of speed buff because it's actually on par with one of the fastest guns in zombies, the World War PPSH. So congratulations, World War II. Let's go ahead and give you a little golf clap. Alright, so now let's go ahead and switch gears and talk about the Black Ops 3 version and the World War II version. So the Black Ops 3 version turns into the Grim Reaper, and not just the Reaper like World War. It's got to be fancy, now the word Grim. So let's go ahead and jump into these comparisons, and when it comes to the fire rate, the Black Ops 3 version is still going to be a lot faster. Not as bad as it was with the World War one, but it's still significantly faster, so you definitely are going to need that rapid fire attachment on the World War II PPSH. And when it comes to overall accuracy, I really don't think anything changed when it became upgraded. They kind of both look the exact same, so I'm going to go ahead and say that they're tied. I really do believe the World War II version was either modeled after the Black Ops 3 one or something, because they are eerily similar. Alright, and lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at the reload speed. I start loading at the exact same time. The Black Ops 3 PPSH is going to have the fastest reload speed when it comes to the upgraded versions. The World War and the World War II version are going to come in at a solid second place. They're both going to be tied. So I mean, hey, at least the World War II version didn't come in third, at least tied for second. But if you ain't first, you're last, so I guess it did kind of come in last place again. Alright, and lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at all these weapons on high rounds and their own respective games and talk about if they're good to have, if I would recommend having them, what the whole deal with it is. So let's go ahead and start with the World at War PPSH first. So the World at War PPSH is definitely an early round monster. Having this thing up until like the 30s is a godsend. Back in World at War, people were preferring the PPSH over the ray gun and the Wunderwaffe. That's how good this thing was. Having the Dream meant having the PPSH, the ray gun, and the MG42 if you did the 3-gun glitch. That was the best loadout you could possibly have back in the day. Oh, well, and monkeys. But just having the PPSH in your inventory was a godsend, and everybody absolutely wanted it. And that's mainly because nobody really survived past like round 25, but that's besides the point. Up until that round, the PPSH was absolutely amazing. But on round 50, it'll get you some kills, but by the time you get really any significant amount of kills, you're going to be out of ammo, and there's no way to get any more, so you're kind of fucked. So on round 50, the World War PPSH is definitely a pretty decent weapon. You're going to be able to get some kills, but it's definitely not a long-term weapon, and I really wouldn't recommend it whatsoever. Alright, so next up, let's go ahead and talk about the Black Ops 3 PPSH, and on high rounds, this thing is going to behave very, very similar to the original World at War PPSH. You're going to get some kills, but that's really about it. If you're really looking for a long-term weapon, this one isn't for you. This one is definitely an early round weapon. I would probably say maybe a mid-tier weapon, but there's a lot of other really, really powerful guns in Black Ops 3 that are way, way better on mid to high rounds, and the PPSH, unfortunately, just really isn't one of them. And in Black Ops 3, I feel like if they would have introduced the PPSH a lot earlier, more people would have probably went after it, but since it's only really in one map, it really wasn't that sought after, and plus changing up the fire rate didn't really help the cause whatsoever. So when it comes to popularity, I don't think the Black Ops 3 version was even remotely close to how popular the World War I was. Alright, and lastly, if we take a look at the World War II PPSH, on round 50, this thing is going to be pretty decent. I don't think you're going to be able to get kills as fast as you would with the other two PPSHs, mainly just because of your fire rate issue, but you are still probably going to get roughly around the same amount. So all three PPSHs on round 50, hypothetically, would all get like 10 kills together with all the ammo they actually do have. Now, I definitely do think that if you throw on a bunch of attachments, you get the right perks, you can make this World War II PPSH a lot better than the other two. But bare bones, just looking at the guns themselves, I would say on round 50, they're pretty dead even if we're not considering ammo. If you're taking ammo into consideration, the World War II PPSH absolutely mops the floor with the other ones because you basically have unlimited ammo. Whether you're going back to the wall location or you're going back to Pack-a-Punch, you can constantly go back and get ammo. It's not like it's in a hard to reach place or anything, it's fairly easy to get. So if we're taking ammo and perks and attachments and everything else into consideration, the World War II PPSH is by far going to be the winner. But if we're just looking at the guns themselves, I'm going to go ahead and say that the World War PPSH was by far, in my opinion, the winner. Mainly just because it has such a fast fire rate. Its fire rate is so much faster than the other ones that it's not even a competition. And that's one of the reasons I fell in love with the PPSH back at World War was because of that fire rate, man. It was so goddamn fast, there was really nothing else like it. It was incredible. It makes Usain Bolt look like that fat guy at Walmart. It is so fast that it's not even funny to compare the World War II version to the World War I. And then there's the Black Ops 3 version, which in my opinion is kind of forgettable. So when it comes to overall popularity, you have to give it to the original World War version, and when it comes to overall forgetfulness, you gotta give it to the Black Ops 3. So that is going to be the end of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I have compared the World War II PPSH multiplayer to the World War multiplayer one, so if you want to see that, click on the link on screen right now, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. So real quick, I just want to say shout out to my lovely Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for your support. It does mean a lot to me, and it helps me make cool videos for you guys. And if you guys are curious about being a Patreon supporter, go ahead and check it out. Link will be in the description. It's basically just a more direct way to support me with a bunch of cool rewards. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check it out. Link will be in the description. And while you're down there, go ahead and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. It's a lot easier to contact me over on those websites than it is in the YouTube comments. So lastly, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.